Today's video is going to be a bit different. We're traveling from JFK here in New York to London Heathrow on British Airways in first class, but that will be tomorrow. This will conclude our USA holiday trip. Like I mentioned, our flight is at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, so we came a day early, and we're going to spend the night here at this stunning TWA hotel at the JFK airport here in New York. The hotel is located in the former TWA flight center. This is what the terminal was called when it was in use until 2001. They repurposed it in 2017 and built two buildings next to the terminal building to house the hotel rooms, and leaving the flight center very much intact for us to enjoy today. The terminal was designed by a Finnish-American architect called Eero Saarinen. I'm sure I butchered his name right there, so apologies for that. Saarinen also designed the Gateway Arch that you might know in St. Louis. He designed that in 1948, and it was completed in 1960. The building of the flight center itself took 3 years. The projected cost was $12 million, and that's about $100 million in today's money. It went all pear-shaped for TWA in the 90s, and the airline in the end had to sell its assets to American Airlines in 2001. American did use the terminal for about 3 more months, but ceased operations there in December 2001. The airport officials thought that the building was outdated and started looking for alternatives for that location. And in the end it went back and forth between those that wanted to preserve the building and the new plans that would partly destroy it or completely destroy it. JetBlue at the time was the biggest and fastest growing airline at JFK, and they came with a proposal for a new terminal that would keep the TWA flight center intact. And at first they wanted the building to be part of Terminal 5. But when the terminal opened in 2008, the TWA part still waited to be renovated. In 2015, JetBlue came with the plan to turn the building into a hotel, and in 2019 this was realized. And they added 2 new buildings housing the hotel rooms. Those buildings are in between the Terminal 5 and the flight center. Leaving the flight center really as a reception area. It houses the restaurants, it houses exhibitions, but it most importantly has left the original design and the feeling of the design and the looks intact for us to visit and enjoy today. So I'm going to show you more of the buildings and going to show us the hotel room we have here. It's really fun to explore and walk around this hotel. You never know what you're going to find. Like we just found the Ambassador Club where the Pope once waited for his plane. The hotel has several options for food and drinks. There's an actual food hall, basic foods, bagels, paninis, hot dogs, ice cream I think I saw. Then there's a restaurant, a table service restaurant on the first floor, the Paris Cafe. And there are several places where you can have a drink. One is on the roof, one is very special, I'll show you that later, and one is here in the center of the hotel. It's called the Sunken Lounge. So if you go out of the back of the hotel into the courtyard, you'll come across something absolutely amazing. They've got a Lockheed Constellation there, fully restored. For me, it's one of the most prettiest planes ever designed, and it's here in the courtyard. So this particular airframe came off the line in 1958. It only served 2 years with TWA. It retired from the airline in 1960. There was no place anymore for these large turboprops, and it was replaced in a Jet H. She had different jobs, different owners, some quite shady, but her run ended in 1983 when she was abandoned in Honduras. In 1986, an American from Fort Lauderdale bought the frame and brought it back to the US, and there she was cannibalized for several parts to help restore different Constellation aircrafts. After restoration in 2018, she went on to an epic journey across the US to come to New York and finally finding its place here in the hotel. If you go into the hotel, there's the whole story there for you to read. It's a very interesting story and a beautiful plane. And now serves actually as a cocktail lounge. I wanted to film inside, but it was quite busy and I want to respect people's privacy, so I didn't film inside. On the roof of the hotel, there's another surprise. There's a swimming pool there, an infinity swimming pool that has a great view of the tarmac and the operations. Unfortunately, it was very busy, so I didn't want to film there. But it's great, and there's also a cocktail lounge there for you to hang out on a hot day. Let's go and check out the room. It's not our first time we stayed at this hotel. I think it's about third time we stayed here, mostly of course for connecting flights. It's not cheap. I think the cheapest room is around $400 for one night, and we paid $505 for a room with a runway view. The room itself isn't that large, but it has some lovely design features, the classic look, and for us the most important was this stunning view outside of the window. The bathroom is quite small. It has a walk-in shower, a toilet, a single sink, no tub, and it felt very plain, very bare. I don't know, very cold. It's not the nicest bathroom, but it does the job. As we're heading downstairs, we pass the shop with TWA merchandise. We came prepared. There's nothing to eat for my wife at the food hall as she's celiac and they don't provide anything for her. So we brought our own food and had that in the room. So now we're just going to have a couple of cocktails and then quickly head back up to the room and get to sleep as we're getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Good morning. It's still dark outside. We're going to catch an 8 o'clock plane towards London Heathrow. So we are up and early. I sound better in the voiceover than I do in reality at 5:30 in the morning. We're going to pack up and head for the AirTrain. The big benefit of this hotel is the AirTrain. It's just a short walk and the AirTrain will take you towards all the terminals. We're going to head out to Terminal 8. As we go out, you can quickly see the food hall here, and there in the distance you can see the check-in area, both which I've got to film last night. As we exit the hotel, you can see there across the street the elevated tracks of the AirTrain, so that is where we're heading now. The great benefit of flying at 8 o'clock in the morning from the east coast of the US is that you're going to arrive on the same day in Europe, in UK for us in this case. The benefit is that for us we're sort of still in our natural US pattern, and as we arrive in the UK we're going to be tired of this early morning and everything, so it's going to be much easier for us to fall asleep in the evening in the UK. And then we're going to get up early and take a flight back home. For us, this extra stop is a great benefit in combating jet lag. First class check-in at JFK is quite exclusive. It's hidden in a corner behind some closed doors. And as you enter, you are escorted to a check-in agent, and he or she will quickly check you in. And after that, another agent will escort you to the front of the security queue. So you basically bypass everything there. It's a nice added benefit. After check-in, it's time for the lounge. British Airways and American Airlines share the lounges here together with their One World partners. Before, of course, British Airways had a Concorde room here in Terminal 8, but that closed down after the pandemic. There were extensive renovations here in the terminal, and that resulted in 3 new lounges. Greenwich, Soho and Chelsea. Fun fact, all are boroughs that can be found in New York and London. Greenwich is the business class lounge. Soho is the lounge for those with the highest status within the One World Airlines. And the Chelsea lounge is exclusive for those traveling in first class internationally, and those of course who have a special status within the airlines. And we're heading towards the Chelsea lounge. As you enter the Chelsea lounge, the first thing that hits you is this beautiful round bar. They do make some good cocktails and serve some good drinks here. It's too early for me to have a drink, although some people came in a bit later and did start drinking, but not me. We headed towards the back of the lounge where there's a dining area, and they were serving breakfast, so we had some breakfast and coffees there. Only downside of the lounge is I asked for coffee to go. As everybody knows, that coffee on airplanes is pretty bad, and they had some nice cappuccino here, so I hope to bring some on board to have my second coffee to wake up, but unfortunately they could not do that for me. We enjoyed our short stay. Well, it was early, and we're heading towards the plane now. The lounge is very close to the plane, so that makes it a short journey. We're ready to board, and basically we could walk straight onto the plane. After a warm welcome on board, I settled down in the seat. As you can see, we have got middle seats again, so unfortunately the footage on board is going to be very limited. We quickly settled in. It's a relative short flight, about 6 to 7 hours, literally depending on how the winds are blowing. They are going to serve us 2 meals on this short flight. Of course, we just had breakfast in the lounge, so I wasn't going to have another breakfast here on the plane other than the starter, which was a trio of smoked salmon, which I quite fancied. They did not load my wife's gluten-free meal, which was pretty bad. The crew, however, were very helpful in trying to find her anything to eat on board. Even a crew member of the business class came and offered a business class a gluten-free meal. Fortunately, my wife had a massive omelette in the lounge, so that wasn't really necessary. She did, however, had some fruit and yogurt. Second meal they served around an hour and a half before landing. I had a shrimp starter, a lovely chicken katsu slider, I think they're called, very tasty, and a little dessert, which is also good, and some lovely wines. My final thoughts on this flight in British Airways first class. The cabin crew were great, the food was great, a real shame that my wife's meal didn't get loaded. That is not the fault of the cabin crew. They did the best to fix it, but I think as an airline it's very bad, not just in first class but in any class if you're getting special meals, because people are basically going foodless on a long flight. Sadly, this is also the end of our 2.5 weeks holiday we just had. We had a great time, but it's now back to reality. We're going to spend the night here at Heathrow Airport in a Sofitel. It's 9 o'clock now, so there's no flights back to Amsterdam from here. So we're going to do that tomorrow morning, and just going to chill, have a nice hot bath, and maybe a nice cocktail. So thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, share this video, and give us feedback in the comment sections, of your experiences and what you have seen in this video. So once again, thank you for watching, and bye bye.